Ready?
Yep.
I'm going to have to retweet it later.
All right, folks. After we learned about this Paperboy's account of what he seen happen on November 5th, early in the morning, begin searching through things that may confirm or deny this happened. I know there's no audio that confirms this because I've been through it all. But the DCI reports. This is why the importance of going back over things is very important because you might find something you didn't see before that now pops out like a red flag. Well, we got this DCI report. It happened on the 6th of November. Now, it claims that he called on the 5th of November. So, this is after he would have called. DCI agent Lisa Wilson and Appleton Arson DCI they're both from the arson squad. Kevin Heemeiler and Lisa Wilson. They go interview the Spring Tube gentleman, and we don't have the audio. And like majority of interviews that we do have that they talk about, we have a rendition of what took place. We don't have the questions that they were asked. They just have a bunch of answers listed. So on November 6, 2005, Heemeiler and Wilson assisted with the investigation of a missing person, Teresa Halbach, in the town of Gibson. Manitowoc County, Heemeiler and Wilson conducted a neighborhood canvass of the area surrounding State Highway 47 and Avery Road on November 6th at 11 a.m. They both made personal contact with Walter Springtube, who resides at 3215 State Highway 147, Two Rivers, Wisconsin. Walter Springtube stated he resides at the residence with his wife, Betty Springtube, and their granddaughter, who is 15 years old. Walter Springtube stated his family resides at the residence for approximately 30 years. Springtube's residence is located at the southwest corner intersection of Highway 147 and Avery Road. Investigators asked Walter Springtube if he had seen recent media coverage concerning the missing female from Calumet County. Walter stated he had indeed seen the media coverage. Investigators asked if Walter Springtube had been seeing pictures of the missing female and her vehicle. He stated that he'd seen pictures of the missing female and her vehicle. Walter Springtube stated that he had not seen female in the area. Investigators asked Springtube if he had seen an activity which he felt unusual activity for the neighborhood during the course of the previous week. Springtube stated he was aware of the recent law enforcement activity occurring at the Avery property directly south of his residence. Springtube stated that he had received a telephone call from Dolores Avery on 11/6, approximately 10 a.m. 10:20 a.m. Stated that Dolores Avery is Stephen's mother. He stated during the telephone call, Dolores asked Springtube what was going on in the neighborhood and at the Avery property. Springtube said during that conversation, Dolores Avery stated to him that they're setting him up. Springtube also stated Dolores Avery stated to him that they saw lights the night approximately 10 p.m. and the headlights were in the yard. Investigators asked Springtube if Dolores Avery indicated which night the headlights were allegedly seen, and Springtube said he believed Dolores stated it was Wednesday night or Friday night or the previous week. Springtube was asked if he had seen any other activity which he felt may be related to the investigation. Springtube stated he recalled that on Wednesday 11/2, approximately 9:45 a.m., he was at the residence and observed Stephen Avery's new black truck leaving the property. He stated that the truck traveled northbound on Avery Road, and when it reached the stop sign, the truck did not stop and drove rather quickly onto 147, turning left northbound. Springtube stated that he could not identify who was driving the truck. However, that stated that Stephen Avery is the only one he has seen drive this truck in the past, and stated that nobody else would drive the truck. Springtube further stated that he only seen Stephen Avery drive the truck on one or two occasions in the past. Now, yeah, okay. And stated that when he sees Stephen Avery drive his truck leaving the Avery property, he normally stops at times. Normally, you only seen him do this twice, so this is the third time you've seen him do this. So,
Yeah, normally, right?
Springtube stated that he's not seen a large black Ford truck belonging to Stephen Avery return to the property since he saw it leave on Wednesday morning. Springtube further stated he's not seen Stephen Avery since Wednesday morning. Springtube stated he's not been in Avery property during the course of the previous week. Springtube stated that during the course of the previous week, he believed that on Tuesday 11/1 and Friday 11/4, He and his wife were both gone for the residence all day and believed that he had gone to Oneida Casino. Spring Tube stated a normal mail delivery. This is where it gets weird. Spring Tube stated the normal mail delivery in neighborhood somewhere between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. He stated that the local newspaper, the Herald Times, is normal delivered on a daily basis approximately 9:30 a.m. Now, what questions did they ask him to make him make this statement right here?
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
And
Why
it's
would
even
they ask him?
underlined.
The Herald Times. Wow.
11.
Springtube also provided additional information concerning Alan Avery. Springtube stated it normal for Alan Avery to leave the property Thursday night and Friday normally when Alan Avery goes up north to Avery property. Springtube stated that Alan normally returns on Tuesday. Springtube further stated that they are aware that the Avery family has a tractor with a backhoe attached to the property in northern Wisconsin. At the conclusion of the interview, Springtube stated that he, Heather, and Wilson were free to look through his property and through his outbuildings and search for the missing female. But
I already know who did it, though.
yeah, okay.
And offered up the information that the Herald Times was delivered at 9:30 a.m., huh?
Yeah, like I said, we don't have the questions asked of
Yeah.
this individual. We just have a rendition of what he said. But there should be an interview. If they're doing their job correctly, they should have recorded every interaction with everybody they talk to. Because that's what you do when you do a proper investigation.
Correct.
Well, any paper I've ever had has requirements as to when you have to deliver it by, right? Isn't that right, reality?
I'm sorry, what was that? I was reading a message from Mr. I cannot pronounce his name. Hevienda for Justice?
No, people who have had paper routes understand that the papers require you to deliver them by a certain time. That's what I was saying.
You are told that you pick up your papers really early, number one. You pick them up. You have to fold them yourselves for their distribution. If it's raining, you have to put them in the plastic bags. You have to put the rubber bands on them. And most of my route was done in the dark because you're supposed to have it there during the week. They like them there. Every place is different, but like usually by 7 o'clock because people go to work and they want the paper before they go to work. So the paper would have to be delivered before then. On the weekends, you got an extra hour because people aren't working, so they can get it a little hour. And I'll tell you, if you didn't have them delivered, if you missed one person or you didn't have it delivered by that 7 o'clock, they were on the horn and they were calling the newspaper and they were complaining.
I'll tell you, I worked a gas station and I had to be there at a certain time to be open specifically to receive the papers that they would drop off.
Yep.
And that was usually 4:35 a.m. No, I opened at 5. So I had usually had to be there at 4:30 a.m. when they dropped the newspapers off because I had to have them in the stands before the gas station was even opened.
Yep, Tish, they're usually done before the crack of dawn. And that's because they don't just have to do the carriers, the people who are doing them at the homes. They have to drop them off to the convenience stores. They have to put them in the pull machines. They have all of it that has to be
That's why
done.
they have multiple different drivers. They just don't have one person doing all that.
Yep. Mr. For Justice had asked about why there were no interviews for Ellen and Dolores. We actually, I was Googling the other day and ran across part of a report for evidence. It was an evidence log. And it actually shows that when Fassbender took into his custody the CD for the DASI computer, he also took into his custody the audio interview of Miss Dolores. Why?
Yeah, I'll grab that screenshot.
Wonder
Why?
if sitting in lockup
Yeah.
with SEC forever.
There must be a bombshell on there. What it makes you think that Dolores might have said something, just a little thing that resonated with him that might have, that might have been important that Dolores didn't even really think was important, but could have really been. Oh my God!
Corroborating that he brought Stephen's mail to him.
Yeah, and sat out there with 10 minutes with him on the golf cart.
Well, yeah. I mean, that I get, but why? I mean, why wouldn't Buting and Strang, put Dolores on the stand to say that? And so she didn't forget it. So
if her audio interview wasn't even given to them, they didn't know what she said in the first place. And after that, she was just saying, I don't know any more than I've already told you. I don't know anything except what I saw on the news.
Well, obviously, know that this audio interview exists, so guess we know what FOIA the request
Yeah,
now.
we actually have the number of that. We actually have already forwarded this information to Casey, so she can pull into it. But you think about it, if this would have came out, Brendan's story would have gone right in the toilet because he said he brought the mail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Miss Carla, we have to give her credit for finding this report for the spring tubes, because she was doing some digging today, and that woman is a pit bull when it comes to finding information. She's really a pit bull, and she's awesome.
Major kudos. Major.
Thank you, Carla. Oh, can you see the house there?
Kaboom says there is a DCI report that was released that confirms Dolores told them that she went down to give Stephen his mail.
Yep.
I think it's clear that Buting and String didn't request everything. They flubbed a lot. And they clearly, if they had this stuff, or if they had even had the resources to go over this stuff, they would have had the proper things to counteract what the prosecution was pushing against.
Yeah, but it's interesting that on that document it says safekeeping.
Yeah, it does.
The same as the VLCD, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Why?
Well, you know what? I'm wondering if maybe she said that Stephen came to her house for dinner that night.
It could be.
Guess we'll find out soon enough.
I guess we will.
I did not.
They were sure asking everybody what a family dinner that occurred at Ma Avery's house.
Yeah, they were asking about that.
Yep. Well, I believe Miss Carla forwarded this information. We forwarded the other one. It's the truth will come out, and it's starting to. You don't just blindly get an answer about the Herald Times the next day.
That exactly.
Yeah, like Thomas would have known that they were going to ask about the Herald. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's very strange that they'd be asking about that exact newspaper. Very, very strange.
And at that address the next day.
Yeah.
If they
right
didn't,
down the street.
Well, let's bring up Google Maps.
They probably figured they covered their derriere since they got Walter's, since they have the wording in there that 9:30 was when it was delivered by. They figured they covered their bases.
well, and $5, they probably just they probably did what they do with every interview, and it's just like, oh, looked at the paper. What time you usually get your paper here? Blah blah blah, and just added it in the interview nonchalantly.
Yeah.
As they brought it up and chit-chatted about it, and they were like, oh, it's just normal for us to put things that we chat about in these reports, and had them sign it.
Yeah. I get my paper. He probably said, well, I go get my paper about 9:30. So he just put the paper comes at 9:30.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's easy. It's easy for the guy who actually delivered it to know that he's doing it at late at night. So that's not questioned. Very, very interesting.
Well, they were saying 9:30 in the morning.
Which would be well after sunrise.
Thomas, yeah, well after Tom saw him.
Yeah.
So you're going to take the word of someone who picks their paper up, one person versus the person who delivers it every single day.
Well, I think they made it specific for this person, because think about how much this person, this guy is clearly a nosy neighbor.
Right.
Look at he knows what day Alan Avery gets back from up north. He is a nosy neighbor. So they made sure they put it in his interview because of how much detail he knows.
Wow, wow, wow. So let's see what everybody's thinking.
Yeah, I want to know everybody else.
15.
What- You think it's just random that they would randomly
Yeah,
put somebody right there on 147th and Avery Road about what time the Herald Times shows up? If they didn't, in fact, get a phone call from somebody stating that they saw Bobby Dassey pushing this RAV4 down the road?
How would
Yeah.
they even do that?
why would they be over at the neighbor's house on the 6th asking about their mail and their newspaper?
We can see about asking the mail, right? Because that's to kind of corroborate Brendan's story. But the newspaper, that newspaper, why are they talking about that newspaper?
Yeah, how, I mean, are
But Brendan hadn't.
one
Brendan,
local newspaper?
Brendan
Is
hadn't
full-time
given
newspaper?
the.
Yeah.
Brendan hadn't given the story yet that he had taken his mail to him.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right. Yeah.
this is where he used to live.
Because I know in my area there are multiple newspapers. You've got your local paper, you've got your big city newspaper. So why specifically the Herald Times?
Right. Well, I mean, they could have just said they get their mail this time, they get their paper this time, but no, they had to do it and underline the Herald Times.
Exactly.
I wonder if he got the Herald Times. Well, from the account of what the affidavit says, he probably didn't stop at the Spring Tube's house.
Oh, you're talking Stephen?
No, the paper boy. If you were just fleeing for your life, like you claim, you think you'd deliver the next paper?
Well,
On the way in.
Depends which way his road is. If he's coming and Spring
based on his
would have been
affidavit,
a
he was
stop.
heading towards Avery property and turned from 147 onto Avery. So,
but we don't know if he was coming from the left or the right.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if the mailboxes are on the left.
What about Spring Tube's mailbox would have been on?
Spring Tube's mailbox is not where Stephen Avery's mailbox is.
Okay.
Because his mailbox would have been by his house over here. Or, if worst case scenario, it would have been on this side of the street, possibly. But I highly doubt it.
I can't think of a reason why you'd be asking about that paper. I can't think of one good one.
Just that paper.
It's going to remain a mystery, I guess.
Kaboom. We don't know what he was asked. All we know was
it's just
that he
strange
stated,
that he's mentioning the Herald Times. We don't know
stated
which questions
Herald
were
Times.
asked to this individual.
Yeah, it seems to be
a
something
narrative.
But why would they be asking what time the paper was delivered?
Exactly.
What does that have to do with the Stephen Avery case? Unless they got that phone call.
Right.
That's the only assumption I can come up with.
So Addiction Mouse said he was coming from Mishicot.
Okay, so he was heading west and then turned into Avery's.
Yep.
Heading towards Maribel.
He said he turned left onto Avery Road.
But yeah.
Yeah, this
now
is
we
definitely
just got a FOIA for these interviews and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and this is DCI though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they can't say no for that.
They can't say no. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just want to make sure that it's going to the FOIA gets requested from the correct place.
So we need the DCI report that collaborates with this report, and we also need Mom Dolores' audio recording that Mr. Fackbender had. Probably still has it.
What do you mean
Probably
had
still
it?
in safekeeping.
Well, it says he was the one who had it in safekeeping. He's the one who had the CD as well.
States on it specifically safekeeping.
Yes, it
Sure
does.
What was the risk? That somebody
The
may hear
defense
it, right?
getting a hold of it. The defense getting a hold of it.
Exactly.
In honor of Eric Jose, I got me and Dr. Pepper.
Just to make sure everybody's clear, right? It clearly says on November 6th is when they met. Even though the report was submitted, if you look at the top of the report, it was submitted on the
But that's when the
on the
report was
16th.
written up. That's
Yeah.
when the report was written up, was the 16th.
But the
Yes.
interview clearly happened on the 6th.
Yes.
Right? What do they even know on the 6th?
They found the RAV.
Yep.
I like
That's
how they
it.
covered
No.
up. We were
And
canvassing
early
the
that morning,
area.
the crime lab would have been
That
going
morning
through it.
that's getting delivered to
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Or
There shouldn't have been any question about the mail or the newspaper at this point because Brendan has not been interviewed to the point where he said he brought the mail to him.
Right.
That wasn't even an issue at this point.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they interviewed him the same day on Sunday the
statement
6th.
that they have at this point, which they don't even have Stevens' interview where he stated his mom brought the mail to him was
he
done.
he said that on the 5th
He said it on the 5th. Okay, so then the
with
only
O'Neill.
person referencing mail at this point is
Yeah, that's it.
What was the date of that audio into evidence?
For
Mom-
Dolores, 11/9,
Yeah.
same day they took her to the
Yeah,
hospital.
11/9. The same. It was the DNA trip. The same as we've done for Chuck and Earl.
Okay.
And,
Barb and Bobby.
Because I found in the DCI report of her, let's see, her search warrant for getting her DNA and her fingerprints and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It says when Dolores was transferred to Aurora Medical Center, during the transport to and from the medical center, an audio tape recording of the conversation between Special Agent Strauss, Special Agent Ojeda, and Dolores was made.
Yep, just like the audio recordings made of Stephen Avery.
And we know how much Jeff Strauss likes
That we
Stephen.
don't have.
right.
But yeah,
That'll be our next goal then, people. We'll be going after those.
Just thought that was a viable piece of information to share with you guys. Here we have something now linking this specific newspaper to this recent report claim from this witness.
and it happens after he says he reported it. So
After
And less than 24 hours, 24 hours after the incident has happened.
but
You heard it here first.
who knows?
Bye, guys.
See y'all later.
coming back, I'm sure we're gonna have lots of firsts for you.
Right?
Bye-bye.